The Banjul Bara ferry terminal serves as a daily route to thousands of Gambians and non-Gambians alike. But over the years, the outmoded nature of the landers where the ferry docks have become worrying. These are the ramps removed from the dock 1 month ago. It took 50 years to change these ramps, totally consumed by age, and avoid commuters dangerously flattened with death. In November 2010, a sports journalist working for the foreign newspaper died at the Bara ferry terminal after his car plunged headlong from the ferry into the river shortly before the ferry departed for Banjul. Of recent, the ferries increasingly get it difficult to dock at the two banks on the Banjul Bara terminals. Meanwhile, passengers experience endless delays and sufferings. In October, the Gambia Ports Authority announced the installation of new landers. The work to install these landers has been awarded to a foreign company. Lamin Sanyang, PRO at the Gambia Ports Authority, explains why.
The Gambia Ports Authority management engaged a company that are based in Holland, and their specialization is building of vessels and ferries. And that is the very company called Damen Shipyard. Damen Shipyard is based in Holland. They are the very company that built Kunta Kinte. These landers, normally we call them rams, used to give us headache time to time. At a time you don't expect them to be having issues. That's the time the landers we started to have problems, and it gives obstacles to the ferries, particularly when it comes to anchor, in order to disembark the people and vehicles. So management decided to engage the very company, Damen Shipyard, to come and make a survey for us at Banjul and Bara to see, best a new lander that should be built in line with our standards to be installed. And that is what brought to this issue of the development that we have at the port, at the ferries, that is the installation. These landers were brought in August 2020 when the country was experiencing a lot of issues when it comes to the surge of COVID-19. So we couldn't be able to do the work because we already announced to the public that we will hold operation in August. We couldn't be able to do that due to the fact that the COVID-19 regulations were in force, and the experts, that is the commissioning engineers, that should come from Damen to complement the effort of our people on the ground here, we are not able to come because it is in line with their contract to build and install the new landers. And that is why in this September, the engineers from Damen Shipyard were able to arrive in the Gambia, and thank God, with the people on the ground, the technical team of the Gambia Ferry Services, we are able to install the ram at, let's say, the ram at Banjul End was able to be installed, let's say, on the 7th, of November. It was able to be installed, and that of the ram in Banjul, let's say Bara rather, was able to be installed on the 10th of November. So as we are speaking, the Banjul and Bara landers are all installed, and the technical team with the Damen Shipyard team, commissioning engineers, are doing minor adjustments, to tie the bolts and that of the balancing. Because when you go to the terminal, you realize that there is an arch with a balance that helps to balance the lander with that of the ferry, so that there will be easy and smooth embargo of people and vehicles in and out of the ferry. So that is the situation we are at this point in time.
The initial deadline to complete the work is a period of 30 days according to GPA. But technicians continue to carry out simulations and trials, while regular rotations of the ferries are still on hold. Until work is complete with the landers, commuters are left with the options to use canoes between Bara and Banjul or ply the Senegambia route via the western region. According to the managing director, Usman Jobate, replacing the new rams bears a total cost of €720,000.
Lately, there's been a lot of public safety concern expressed about the nature in which the landers have sagged, especially the ones at Barra. So there was an urgent need to replace them, and we went through a procurement method, and Diamond Shipyards in Holland, incidentally, they had also supplied the ferries, happened to be the most responsive bidder, and we signed a contract with them for the supply, installation and commissioning of these 2 new sets of landing bridges at a cost of 720,000 euros.
When completed, the new landers will smoothen the movements of the commuters and their goods. But the managing director of the Gambia Ports Authority hints that the cost of this investment will be shared between the ports and commuters. A 20% increment will be added on the crossing tariffs.
Well, the expectation is that the tariff will be increased, because the last time tariff increment was done was in 2015. One was planned earlier this year, but we had to defy it because morally we believe that we are not on high ground to be able to justify any increment at the time because of the state of repair of the infrastructure. And there's a provision that tariff can only be increased with the approval of the minister according to the regulation. And the fact that a good part of our clients also are foreign nationals, mostly clients from Senegal. There's a bilateral agreement between the 2 countries that any time the tariff should be increased, there should be adequate notice to be given. So we're looking at a minimum of 3 months notice upon approval by the Honorable Minister for the tariff increment. But what we would always like to put out as a message is that ferry service is a social service more than a cost-plus tariff that is being operated. For example, if you just look at the basic overheads we have in terms of salary and fuel alone for the 3 ferries that are in between Banjul and Barra, 10,000 liters is consumed on average on each ferry for every 10 days. So in a month, you expect to spend nothing less than $4 million is on fuel alone. And the salary of the staff complement is about $8 million, is thereabout. So if all the 3 ferries are in full operation and the traffic is at its peak, that is the best case scenario, you expect to collect $325,000 daily from this Banjul and Barra crossing point. In a month, it should work out to about $9 million. So $9 million is your revenue, whilst the expenditure is $12 million. So every time, you are within a shortfall. And this just to give a broad perspective how the tariff is structured. It's not a very profitable venture because of the social service nature of the operations we provide. That's why we're expecting that 20% increment will be applied across the board.
Patience Lum, reporting for Chronicle News Media.